Let's get back to Sports and Torts with David Spada and Elliott Harris on TalkZone.com.
It's a true pleasure for me. I get to talk to a gentleman I watched play with the Utah Jazz when I was younger. He also played for the Pistons, the Mavericks, the Bucks, and he played at one of my favorite colleges, Notre Dame. Basketball Hall of Famer Adrian Dantley. How you doing, Adrian?
Doing just fine. Adrian,
I see you went to DeMather Catholic High School in Maryland, and then you went to Notre Dame. How did you end up at Notre Dame? Was Digger Phelps recruiting you?
Well, when I was at DeMather High School, we had a Washington group that had some success at Notre Dame. Austin Carr, great player. Bob Whitmore, Sid Catlett, Carlos Jones. They were from the Washington area, and Digger recruited me. And at that time, they had a couple positions open. I thought it was a good spot for me, and that's why I chose Notre Dame.
There was a real good pipeline Digger had there. I mean, Austin Carr, he really lighted up in college.
Yeah, Austin Carr was one of the greatest college players ever played, but Digger didn't recruit him. That was Digger wasn't there at that time, and but he used them to recruit certain players out of the D.C. area.
What was it like in Notre Dame back in the early 70s?
It was okay. I mean, it wasn't. It was great school for me. I mean, I stayed everything I did. I stayed on campus, and it wasn't a female population like it was later on at the beginning. But it's great school.
Because for a while there was all boys, and then went co-ed. What in the late 60s, early 70s?
I was co-ed when I was there. It was co-ed when I was there. So. It wasn't no problem anyway, but I wasn't going to school for that anyway. But it was co-ed when I attended Notre Dame.
With Notre Dame, everybody thinks it is a football school, but they've had some great basketball players over the years.
Yeah, it is a football school, but you can have both programs. There's probably more pressure on your football than your basketball, but we knew that it was a football school, even though we had great teams there.
Everybody thinks about that game against UCLA when you broke their winning streak. Did you think you guys had a chance in that game?
We believed we could win the game. Digger prepared us real well. We would always, after every practice, we would practice cutting down the nets, and some good things happened to us. We didn't quit. We came through at the end, and I think Dwight Clay hit a big jump shot in the corner, and we win. The only mistake that I always tell the PR guys that we shouldn't have played UCLA the following week because we was only ranked number 1 for 1 week.
Who was guarding you in that game? Was Jamal Wilkes on you?
I think probably it was Dave Myers that was defending me, during that period there.
What did Digger tell you during that game, to keep you guys focused?
Well, he just talked about, he had a game plan, and we executed. We attacked their press. And we just played smart basketball.
Then after Notre Dame, you get drafted by the Buffalo Braves, and then you ended up winning the Rookie of the Year. But then Buffalo goes and trades you to Indiana, and then you end up with the Lakers. Did you kind of the first couple of years in the league think, you know what, I just like to find one team and kind of show my skills with them?
Well, what happened to me was when I got drafted by Buffalo Braves, you had 2 owners, John Y. Brown and Mr. Snyder. John Y. Brown wanted all ABA players on his team, so he traded me for ABA players. That's how I got to Indiana. As soon as I got to Indiana, Slick Leonard told me, don't buy a house because you're not going to be here long. So I ended up getting traded 18 games to the Lakers. Played with the Lakers 2.5 years. We didn't have success. And we started 2 small forwards, Jamal Wilkes and myself. So they parted away from me. They traded me for Spencer Haywood because they felt they needed a bigger lineup. And that's how I got to Utah. Utah had some stability there. I was there 8 years. Worked out pretty good. Then I ended up getting traded to Utah, Detroit to Dallas for various reasons.
With the Lakers, though, that was kind of their transition period from the early 70s with Jerry West and Goodrich to the Magic Johnson, Kareem era.
Well, I was in between the Magic Johnson. I was there 3 years before Magic Johnson. I got traded with Magic in Magic's rookie year. So I never played with Magic, but I played with Kareem for 3 years.
What was Kareem like then?
It was okay with me, Everybody have I don't know what they think, but I got along with them real well.
And then you go to the Jazz, and that was a totally different style of basketball because Frank Layden basically had an open style there. You had some talented players in those teams.
Yeah, we had some good players. We won the division once. We had, Bernard King was there for a while. John Drew was there for a while. Darrell Griffin. So we had some good teams. Ricky Green, who played in the Big Ten, by him at Michigan. So, we had some good players.
What was Frank Layden like to play for?
He was okay. He was very, he gave the players a lot of confidence, and he didn't put pressure on you, and he was a good coach.
You guys could light up. Like you said, Ricky Green was one of the fastest guys in the NBA. You had Mark Eaton as your center. Right. You had Dr. Duncanstein and Darrell Griffith, who can just basically score from anywhere on the court, and same thing with you.
Yeah, I think one of the keys was Mark Eaton. He was a good, he was 7'4", so like they say, height never hurts. But we ran up and down the court. We ran some half-court offense when we wanted to, but but Frank, he definitely wanted a fast style.
Yeah, Denver and you could put up some points in the games.
Yeah, whenever we played Utah, whenever we played Denver, we did have big scoring, larger. I think my biggest career average is against Denver. Yeah.
How many points was that?
I think it's close to 40 points a game. I think I average on them.
When you were playing, who gave you the hardest time on defense?
Kevin McHale.
What made him so tough?
Long, pretty versatile. I was skilled to score, but I had to work hard. That's what I tell people.
What was your favorite game in the NBA?
Oh, I don't know. I had some. I don't remember what favorite game I had in the NBA, but I don't remember. I know when I played against the Lakers the first time, I got 50, but we lost the game. But I can't really think of my most favorable game in the NBA.
But you were in the NBA you saw the eras, the pre-Magic era, the Magic era, and then the Michael Jordan era. How did basketball change during that time?
Well, I think Bird, Magic, the league wasn't doing that well. We would have good crowds, but then Michael Jordan came in. That seemed to take off a little bit, especially when I went to Detroit. But, just had good players,
When you went to Detroit, you had a great coach in Chuck Daly up there.
Yeah, Chuck Daly was a good coach, Hall of Famer coach, and happened to be there for 3.5 years. They had good teams. A couple of years we went to the championship. We won the championship when I wasn't there, when I got traded to Dallas. But we had some great players out there. Joe Dumars, Lambie, Vinnie Johnson, Dennis Rodman, Sally was coming off the bench when I was starting there. So we had a good team.
You had Dennis Rodman before he had all the tattoos and had that whole aura about him. He was kind of a quiet guy then, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was quiet then, but he made up for a lost time.
People say all the time that Madonna's the one who got him going. Basically, Madonna showed him how to market himself.
Yeah, well, she did. He did a good job.
And that Detroit backcourt was tough, though. They weren't big, Isaiah and Dumars, but those guys could get it done.
Oh, yeah. They were two of the most talented guards in the league, and whenever they played well, we had a lot of success.
I never got why they traded you for Mark Aguirre. You were a better scorer than Aguirre at that point in his career because Aguirre kind of seemed overweight, and he was only averaging about 15 points a game, whereas you could still light it up.
Well, you don't know the story by now. I got traded because me and Isaiah didn't get along. That's the bottom line. Cut the story short. Isaiah got me traded for his best friend, Mark Aguirre, so that's what happened.
But what was Isaiah didn't think that he could share the spotlight with you, or what was the reason? Or just Aguirre?
He didn't like me, so he made the decisions and I got traded.
So that was the first bad decision he made, other than with the CBA, with the Knicks, with the Pacers. He hasn't made a good decision since.
Well,
we won't go there.
I don't know about them, but I know why I got traded, you know.
When you went down to Dallas, was Spada still there, or was there a different coach?
John McLeod was there.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you had the end of the Spada players though, because you had Derek Harper down there.
Yeah, we had a lot of stuff. Still a lot of turmoil going on. You had Tarpley there. He was on drugs, you know, in and out substance abuse, you know, and had Rolando, and they had a good team. We just couldn't get it together.
I mean, it was tough because they had the same problem you guys had with Utah. You were going against those Lakers teams every year, and those Lakers teams were stacked.
Yeah, but the spirit and everything wasn't good when I got there with Dallas.
How hard is it to coach in the NBA? I mean, with all that talent, do you have to have a special mindset, or does it basically just let the players play?
Well, it depends on the team. The coach got to get along with the players. You know, it's a mind game. It's a salesman's game because if you don't get the, I mean, look at Avery Johnson. He shouldn't get fired. There's a whole lot of different reasons why coach might get fired, but you just got to try to know your players. Don't try to tick them off, and get the job done.
Who was your favorite coach to play for?
Well, I got along real well with Tom Nasaki. I got along real well with. I got pretty much got along real well with all my coaches, but Nasaki, when I was at Utah, he was there my first 3 years. He coached me. Got along real well with him. Got along with Frank Layden until I held out, and then that was the end of that. But coaches really didn't bother me. I didn't really need a rah-rah or coach tell me what to do because I was self-motivated.
When you went into the Hall of Fame, was that what was going through your mind?
What was going through my mind? I think, hey, yeah, I really made it. This is the top of the line. This is one of the goals I had accomplished when I started playing basketball, and it's a pretty good feeling to be up there among all the other great players that ever played the game.
When did you realize in your career that you had a chance to go in the Hall?
I thought maybe around my 8th year, if I kept playing the way I've been playing, I would have a shot to get into the Hall of Fame.
Was there a player that you modeled yourself after when you were growing up?
Yes, Elliott was my player I idolized.
I'll tell you what, one thing about Elgin, though, he changed the way basketball was played because up until he played, it was pretty much set shots. He came in, he was Michael Jordan before Michael Jordan. I mean, he could dunk, glide, he could do it all.
That's right, but the only thing about it is you got the younger generation. They don't know too much about the older generation.
Oh, no, exactly. We talked to Elgin a couple of weeks ago, my co-host Elliott and I. Elliott's not here today. Elgin was saying that if he didn't blow out his knee, his numbers would have been through the roof because he blew out his knees 3rd, 4th year in the league, and he lost a lot of his explosiveness.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he said it was tough, though, because they were against those Celtics teams, and they had Hall of Famer after Hall of Famer back in the 60s and early 70s.
Yep.
Did you ever think to yourself, if I would have loved to play one-on-one with Elgin?
I always thought about it. I always try to imitate some of his moves, because I knew about him. When I was growing up, everybody would always talk about Elgin Bell. They used to call him Rabbit, Elgin Bell. So I know his history, yeah.
He said he was never recruited out of high school by the big schools. That's how he ended up at Idaho, because one of his teammates was going on Idaho.
Yeah. What? Did he have the grades to get in there?
He got in Idaho, and then he transferred to Seattle, and then he ended up going to Minneapolis with the Lakers.
Yeah.
He had a great career. And then you played, I see, in the 76 Olympics in Montreal.
Great team. Coach Steve Smith did a great job. We had some good players, and even though we won the gold medal, we wanted to play against Russia. We ended up playing Czechoslovakia because they had beat Russia.
Yeah, because Russia had the players back then besides the U.S.
I didn't hear you. What did you say?
Yeah, Russia had the dominant players besides the U.S. at that time.
Yeah, but they lost that year to Czechoslovakia that year.
So then you went on coach for 8 seasons with the Nuggets. What was that like?
great experience. Know the game, and enjoyed it.
Is there that much of a home court advantage when you play for the Nuggets because of the altitude?
Oh, definitely. You get teams coming in there from California playing at altitude. It'll definitely get to them. You got to play smart. You try to run them down with them, it might have some problems.
What I don't understand is Denver, with Doug Moe, used to put up huge numbers in the early 80s. It doesn't seem like they do that as much anymore. They try to be more defensive-oriented.
Their present team there, they score. They score. They do play. They also play good defense. They play good defense. They had a good game last night against Chicago. I watched. They play good defense.
Yeah, Chicago won on that, or Chicago lost on that tip-in by Noah. They said it was offensive basket interference, but they didn't call it on Denver earlier in the game at the 1 minute mark.
Yeah.
What do you think about those replays? You think we need them or get rid of them?
I think you need them. I think it helps the referees.
So we're going to see you coaching again in the NBA?
Hopefully, if I get a call.
How would you like to coach the Heat team?
Big East, I'm not. I don't really like college. I like college, but I don't like recruiting players. I don't really particularly care for that.
What about the Miami Heat? Would you want to coach LeBron and Wade and Bosh?
Yeah, if I had the opportunity, it would be nice. But because you got great players that wants to compete. So any level wouldn't matter to me.
Okay, another Sports and Torts is in the books or wherever they place these things, available on podcast on TalkZone.com. I would like to thank our guests, Ferguson Jenkins and Adrian Dantley, and I most of all would like to thank our executive producer, Dave Olson. Tune in again next week for Sports and Torts on TalkZone.com.